Oh, hi. My name is the Lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins, pronouns they, them, and I am a professional astrologer. And I have been waiting to examine a chart from someone like you, specifically other Black, queer, and trans people, but specifically of the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, because I think of the Pluto and Sagittarius generation as the fire starters that are really here to change shit in the world for the better. And here's why I say that. One, because Pluto is all about the shadowy underworlds of things and how exploring the shadowy underworlds of things and doing shadow work can help us find our personal power. And Sagittarius is so much about the power of changing your mind. And so the Pluto and Sagittarius generation combines being comfortable looking at the shadow self, doing shadow work, understanding that trauma is awful and has value, and are adept at being able to change their mind and transmute all of that shadowy energy into something that is amazing. Something that makes you feel free and powerful and open to connect with other folks. Basically, it's these shifts in like how you think about the world, what you believe, that end up making the world a better place. And I think that that is a very special gift. But that's just one of your placements. Let's look briefly at the rest of your chart. So one of the first things I do when I look at a chart is to find out if it's a day or a night chart. Basically, is the sun above the line of the horizon that's in the middle of this circle, or is it below? And we find the sun here in the seventh house. So it is above that line of the horizon. So this is a day chart, more externally focused and more externally concerned. And this is a day chart. And so the planets Jupiter and Saturn are the ones to watch. Jupiter is the most positive planet in this chart, and Saturn is going to be the most challenging planet in this chart. Benefic, malefic. We see Jupiter in the 10th house in Pisces. Oh, this person might have a lot of good fortune in terms of career success or success in the public reputation realm, especially if they are in their Pisces energy, perhaps doing something around connecting to others and being in service of other folks, or something with creativity and art. And then we find the malefic planet of Saturn sitting in the 11th house and conjunct the moon. Wherever Saturn sits, sometimes it can limit things. Saturn moon conjunction, which I also have one of these, can sometimes make for a little bit of an emotional difficulty, a difficulty expressing your emotions, feeling your emotions, understanding what your feelings even are. We find that placement in the 11th house. So I wonder about your friend groups and how they might trigger some of those emotional stunted feelings, or maybe a difficulty expressing your emotionality with your friend group. And in the sign of Aries, I wonder if there is any sort of underlying anger or impatience or impulsivity around friend groups. Those are just things that I would note and sort of put in the back of my mind. I don't know that they're the biggest parts of this chart because, bam, you got a stellium sitting in the seventh house. So whenever I see a stellium, which means that it's three or more planets in one house or in one sign, whenever I see a stellium, I know, oh, this is a lot of energy in one place. This is probably an emphasis for this person's lifetime. So you got a seventh house stellium in Sagittarius. Seventh house deals with one-on-one relationship. Your best friend, yes, lovers, spouses, partners, but also business partners, anybody that you connect to like on a one-on-one type intimate level. And in Sagittarius, who are the one-on-one connections that you have in your life that make you feel free, that expand your mind, that help shift your philosophy and what you believe about the world? And also, do these people come from cultures that are different from the one that you were brought up in? Or have you met these people in an international kind of context or traveling? in terms of the planetary teachers that are in that house, and all of these planetary placements are teachers that are trying to tell us about lessons that we should be learning. It looks like learning the lesson of how to do romantic connection, but also how to attract things to you by being in your expansive, open minded energy. Venus in Sagittarius. You also have Mercury in Sagittarius. So, how is it that we speak and communicate and write and think about things that are more expansive, that are maybe cross cultural in nature? Sun in Sagittarius, how much of your self that you aspire to, in terms of like your higher self, is rooted in these ideas of being able to travel, to expand your mind, to experience more of the world and different cultures. And we already touched on the importance of Pluto in Sagittarius and that whole generation, really. And because I can't talk about all of the planetary placements and the relationships that they are having with each other, I'm just going to end how I started with this comment that talks about how your IC and North Node are both in the third house in Leo. So it's common, but not very usual for people to have their IC MC access in the third and ninth houses. More typically, I find it in the fourth and 10th houses. But like I said, it's not uncommon. Anyway, the IC is kind of like the comfort zone, what feels like home and foundational to you, and also that which you might want to keep to yourself a little bit more. IC privacy. That's how I remember that. So with an IC sitting in the third house, I wonder about the idea of your siblings being, or the people that you were raised around. Maybe you had like cousins that you were raised with, them being a source of like comfort and home for you, but also because the third house has to do with writing, ideas, communications, that kind of thing. I wonder about your comfort zone being in the written word, in your writing, in your speaking with other folks, in conversing with other folks. I also see that you have your North Node sitting in the third house in Leo. And so I think about the path of your life and what you might want to aspire to, because it is rooted in something like divine purpose. Yeah, that's the North Node kind of energy. And yeah, with the North Node in the third house, I wonder about a purpose that is rooted in becoming a writer, author, or orator, or teacher. Third house also has to do with like early childhood educational experiences. And then they're both in Leo. And typically, when I think about Leo, I think about, this is the place where one might shine. So, if you're not a famous author, orator, writer, speaker yet, I wonder how this might manifest after your Saturn return. You're still in your larval stage, but after your Saturn return, I wonder what you will become. Anyway, this is a very, very quick, brief overview, just touching on some of the major things that pop out when I see this chart. Thank you for sharing your chart and allowing us to view it. If you find that, oh, I didn't realize I was sharing this much information about myself by showing my chart and I feel uncomfortable, please let me know because I will take this video down immediately. But on the other hand, if you do like it and you don't mind that people see, I will definitely keep it up. And let me know if you consent to it being cross-posted to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is also Vagina Jenkins, and it's Time for Queer Astrology is the name of my astrology playlist, podcast, whatever, there. So yeah, let me know if that is something that you consent to. Once again, thank you for sharing yourself with the world. This is what I notice. Okay, bye.